heels, recruit! Don't you dare sit down in the drift. If you freeze to a rock, I am not paying the excess baggage fee to haul your statue home. Keep moving! Honestly, look at this scenery. Just miles and miles of aggressive, unbothered white canvas. It's a minimalist nightmare. Igor Dyatlov and his group looked at these unforgiving peaks back in '59 and thought, ah yes, the perfect place for a lovely winter stroll. Preposterous! Give me a well-heated sunroom and a crossword puzzle any day of the week. Winter sports are a scam invented by the wool sock industry. I'm convinced of it. Sweet heavens! Hang your coat on the wooden pegs right next to the hearth, recruit. If we let the Soviet frost melt onto my pine floors, we'll be warping the wood by Tuesday. Sit closer to the fire than usual, please. Your nose is practically translucent and you're shaking like a leaf in a gale. I've had a kettle of Ural Mountain Mulled Cider simmering on the grate since breakfast. Heavy on the cinnamon clove and just enough orange peel to remind your veins that summer does actually exist. Drink up, hold the mug with both hands, use it like a localized radiator. And look here, I've already sat out a plate of Cardamom Snowball Truffles. Go on, take two. Don't bite into them just yet, recruit. Let them sit on your tongue for a moment. I rolled them in powdered sugar and a desiccated coconut so they look exactly like the frozen blocks of ice we just escaped. But the center is a velvety white chocolate ganache infused with crushed cardamom. It's a little trick I learned from winter tracking. You trick your brain into thinking you're eating a piece of the mountain, but the second it melts, that cardamom hits your chest like a tiny hearth fire. See? Pure warmth masked as a blizzard. We are reclaiming the snow, one sweet tooth at a time. Welcome back to the Society of Shadows and Snacks. I'm your keeper. Today we open Case File 6, the Dyatlov Pass. Before we audit the crime scene, we need to look at the ground beneath our boots, recruit. The Ural Mountains are not just any hills. They are one of the oldest surviving mountain ranges on this planet. Nearly 300 million years of compressed memory. The local indigenous people, the Mansi, have called these slopes home for thousands of years, and they have names for these peaks that should have made our hikers pack a picnic elsewhere. But the mountains they chose, Kholat Syakhl. In the Mansi tongue, that translates explicitly to Dead Mountain. And it's not just a poetic title, recruit. Mansi folklore warns of an ancient event where 9 hunters went up into those woods and were found dead on the exact same ridge, completely unmarred, but with their spirits entirely vacant. 9 hunters then, 9 hikers in 1959. I am not a mathematician, dear recruit, but I know a terrible pattern when I see one. If a mountain has a body count that consistently rounds to the nearest 10, you do not pitch a tent there. You stay home and you watch a lovely rerun of some sitcom. These 9 hikers were not amateurs, recruit. They were university students and seasoned cross-country skiers who could navigate a blizzard backwards with their eyes closed. Yet, for some reason, at around midnight, something compelled them to slice their canvas tent open from the inside and run down the mountain into a sub-zero gale. And they didn't even stop to put on their boots. Imagine the sheer panic it takes to make a sensible human being look at a negative 30-degree Siberian night and think, ah yes, sprinting into that barefoot seems like a much safer option than staying in this tent. Preposterous. When the rescue team found the campsite weeks later, they found their boots neatly lined up, their money intact, and their heavy coats just sitting there. The footprints showed that they walked, not ran, mind you, but walked, in a neat, orderly file down toward the tree line. It wasn't a chaotic scatter. They left together at a casual stroll, right into their own demise. The injuries are where the official record turns into a total circus. Some of them died of simple hypothermia, but others, internal skull fractures and chest trauma so severe it matched the impact of a high-speed car crash. And yet, the medical examiner noted there was no external bruising. How do you break a person's ribs from the inside out without marking the skin? And to cap off the absurdity, Their clothing carried high, elevated levels of radiation. Radiation! On a ski trip! The official Soviet conclusion was that the hikers succumbed to a spontaneous, unknown compelling force. Oh, please. Now, don't go thinking these cosmic loiterers stayed behind in 1959, recruit. The Society's secure frequency has been buzzing with reports from our modern members who encountered the exact same overhead nuisance while camping this past winter. A recruit backpacking in the Cascade Mountains sent in a log from last January. She was asleep in her thermal bivy sack when she woke up because her digital watch alarm started glitching and chiming backwards. Then, the entire campsite lit up. She said it wasn't lightning. It was a steady, blinding neon orange spotlight pouring straight down from the sky, completely silent. The heat radiating through her tent fabric was so intense, she thought her sleeping bag was going to catch fire. Did she run outside to look? Absolutely not. She remembered her training, pulled her wool cap down over her eyes, and muttered, "I am not dealing with the solar radiation lawsuit today. Turn off the high beams." And wouldn't you know it, 5 seconds later, the light vanished, leaving the snow smelling faintly of ozone and burnt copper. You have to set boundaries with these things, recruit. They think just because they don't have to pay taxes, they can shine their flashlights wherever they want. Our second account comes from a pair of recruits ice climbing in the Alps. They were trekking back to their base camp in the dark when 3 glowing orange orbs, exactly like the ones near Dead Mountain, dropped out of the cloud cover. They didn't make a sound. They just floated 10 feet above the snow line, matching the recruit's pace, step for step, casting a bizarre, eerie glow over the snow. Look, I understand the cosmos is a vast and lonely place. But stalking my recruits on a Friday night is a terrible way to make friends. One of our recruits, a deeply exhausted boy, finally stopped, held up his trekking poles in a cross and yelled, "Unless you were here to help me carry this 45-pound backpack up the ridge, you need to clear the airspace." And guess what? The sphere zipped straight up into the atmosphere at Mach 5. You see, you have to speak to them like pushy telemarketers. Assert your rights. The sky might be theirs, but the trail belongs to the Society. We are dealing with a mystery that was deliberately frozen in time to keep humanity from looking at the truth, recruit. And when the world tries to freeze a secret, the Society lights a fire. This is not just a snack. This is an intervention. Pick up your Cardamom Snowball Truffle. Hold it directly over the rising steam of your mug of mulled cider. Now, close your eyes. Feel the heat of the cinnamon and the clove vapor begin to melt the white powdered sugar shell. The artificial snow is giving way. As the shell dissolves, you must recite the first pillar, curiosity. Speak it clearly into the steam, darling. Let the rafters hear your intent. The frost may hide it. The dark may discover it. But the hearth will melt the lie until we discover it. Now, place it on your tongue and let it melt entirely. Feel that white chocolate ganache and sharp cardamom flood your chest. You are moving the heat from the hearth into your very soul. The cold cannot paralyze a recruit who has transformed the winter into sweetness. Sibum est tutela. So what actually happened on the frozen slope? If you listen to the official Soviet autopsy files, they want you to think it was just a localized weather tantrum. But we have to talk about what was happening in the sky that night. We have to talk about the orange spheres. Multiple independent witnesses, including a complete separate group of campers 30 miles away, and even local Soviet meteorologists, all reported seeing glowing, silent, blinding orange orbs maneuvering with terrifying intelligent intent directly over Dead Mountain that exact night. And when the search party finally found our poor hikers, their skin wasn't pale from the snow, recruit. It had turned a deep, bizarre, unnatural shade of orange-brown, as if they'd been exposed to an intense, otherworldly flash of cosmic radiation. Look, I'm the one who has to clean up the ectoplasm in this house, and I am the one who rolls the salt lines. I do the laundry, I brew the tea, and I keep the ancient evils from chewing on your upholstery. And frankly, I am exhausted by the complete lack of basic consideration coming from the upper atmosphere. Imagine being an advanced intergalactic entity. You possess the technology to bend space and time. You can sail across the cosmic void, navigate black holes, master the laws of physics, and what do you do with your Saturday night? You park your glowing orange spaceship over a snowy peak in Siberia just to terrorize 9 college students who are literally just trying to sleep in a canvas tent. It is so incredibly petty. No cosmic manners whatsoever. If you have the technology to travel across the galaxy, you have the technology to look at a map and realize you are trespassing on a private excursion. You don't emit a silent, blinding frequency that causes people to tear open their tents from the inside out in a sheer blind panic. You knock on the front door, you present a lovely space pastry as a hostess gift, and you ask politely to use the facilities. Honestly, Recruit, it makes me want to march right out onto the lawn with the broom and swat at the sky. They think just because they don't have bones, they don't have to follow the rules of basic hospitality? Absolutely not. Not under my watch. There now, your toes are warm, your belly is full of chocolate, and the sky belongs to us tonight. Before I let you slip into the spare bedroom with those thick wool blankets, we have to file our administrative paperwork for the registry. Remember the 3 pillars of our order, Recruit: curiosity, courtesy, and confection. If you ever lose your way in the freezing dark, bake something sweet, remember your manners, and hold the line. Oh, and Recruit, before you slide off to the spare bedroom with those thick wool blankets, don't go getting too comfortable in the heat of this hearth. Your administrative calendar for next week is already looking downright harrowing. We are packing up our perimeter kits and heading south, far south of the Texas border, straight into the dark heart of the Xochimilco canals in Mexico. We are auditing Case File 7, the Island of the Dolls. Look, I can tolerate a lot of things. I tolerate ectoplasm on the baseboards. I tolerate intergalactic loiters parking their glowing orange spheres over my lawn. And I tolerate your endless paperwork errors. But thousands of decomposed, glassy-eyed plastic dolls hanging from the trees, staring at me while I'm trying to navigate a trajinera boat? Absolutely not. It is a logistical nightmare. Don Julian Santana spent 50 years salvaging broken, severed doll heads from the trash to appease the drowning spirit of a young girl. And frankly, the local frequency down there is absolutely buzzing with activity. If you think a Siberian blizzard is chilling, wait until you feel the stare of 100 sightless plastic eyes tracking you through the vines. To keep your nerves from completely liquefying next week, I am already prepping the kitchen defenses. We will be executing a high-stakes cinnamon chili Mexican hot chocolate brownie ritual. The heat of the cayenne and the grounding thickness of the dark cocoa are mandatory to keep your soul from being pulled into the canal waters. Sleep with one eye open tonight, Recruit. The universe is vast, and next week, it's looking back at us. Goodbye for now.